Hi everyone, welcome to Château La Gaffeliere. We are tasting 3 wines today. Good to be back in Saint-Émilion appellation, just down the road from the town, Saint-Émilion. And we're lucky enough to be joined by the director of Château La Gaffeliere, Thomas Sub.
Yes.
Thank you for having me today.
It's a pleasure.
Been nice talking a little bit beforehand. So a little bit of history about this family, because very popular family, well-known family here in Saint-Émilion and Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Do you know?
It's probably the family Mallet Roquefort, and it's maybe the oldest family in Saint-Émilion because they settled down here in La Gaffeliere in 1705. So it's more than 300 years.
Wow.
So it's a 9th generation now. So it's quite incredible. La Gaffeliere, so 22 hectares in first classified gross. We have spoken about Armens, which is in Saint-Émilion, Grand Cru. And La Gaffeliere is a first classified gross, so the top level. And the Clos La Gaffeliere is a second wine, but it's more, we will speak about that, but it's more than a second wine now, because we have a different cellar. For the second wine, where it's a plot-by-plot management. Also, it's not only young vines, So. And for La Gaffeliere, so it's a long story, and so it's and all the family have the philosophy to produce wine very elegant. When people taste La Gaffeliere and say, "Oh, it's very fine, it's very elegant," we have one.
That's the goal. Yeah, great.
That's the most important thing for us. Really
cool. So we're tasting a 2016 Clos La Gaffeliere. So 2016, I think everyone knows now. It's a great year.
Yeah.
In Bordeaux.
Yeah.
And especially in Saint-Émilion. How was it here in La Gaffeliere 2016?
In 16?
Yeah.
In 16 it was as everywhere in Bordeaux. It's we have a very good quantities, very good maturity. All was almost perfect, We have the Merlot with a very good maturity, Cabernet Franc which were fantastic, and we do the harvest mid of October, so they have the time to have a good maturity. So really 16 is really quite perfect. And Clos La Gaffeliere in 2016. So it's composed essentially from Merlot. It's 90% of Merlot and 10% of Cab Franc. And as I explained you that the Clos La Gaffeliere now since 2014 we have a separate cellar. So we have the main cellar here for Château La Gaffeliere, and 400 meters from here on the estate we have another cellar. So in that case we can produce a specific wine. It's coming from the same vineyards, but it's plot by plot management really.
Okay.
And so essentially coming from the foothill. Okay. The La Gaffeliere is concentrated essentially on the main 2 hills we have, the Ozone Hill and the Pavie Hills, but the Clos La Gaffeliere essentially coming from the foothills, essentially clay. We don't call him no more the second wine.
It doesn't smell like a second wine.
No, because we used to say that the second wine is used to be made by the young vine essentially, but not now. It's not the same. It's a different parcel we select. We have the special maturity for them and so on. So
for me, obviously, I'm not an expert, but a real candy kind of I've got candy floss. Sweet kind of
exactly
smell. Just totally different aromas from the Armand.
Yes, we have
it's real sweetness there.
It's very round, not aggressive wine at all. But in the 16, as the balance is very good, we have a very good acidity. So we have a good freshness in the wine. So that it means that you can keep this kind of wine a long time, of course. But for the Clos La Gaffeliere, it's better to drink it in the coming 5-6 years on its freshness, because that's the fruit is very interesting, And you can keep it longer if you want, but it will be totally different. But
I think that's a good point, because normally when you drink a lot of the Bordeaux wines quite young, you still got a lot of the fruit, and over time the fruit kind of disappears and you get other kind of aromas and flavors,
Exactly.
like earthy kind of aromas and flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
That's why. So also very approachable also. Clos La Gaffeliere.
Yeah. Mm.
It's made. It is made to be drinkable even young, of course.
Yeah.
And so the best way to taste this kind of wine is to open it maybe a little bit 35 minutes before.
Yeah.
For the aromas to arrive, and after it's okay, and with a good temperature also, in order to keep this freshness.
Yeah.
It's important for the wine. Really.
Sure. Thank you for that point. It's a good point.
Yeah. And you know that we feel we smell a little piece of toasty things,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
because we use a little part of new oak barrels and a part of 1 year old barrel, and a part which stay in vats.
Okay.
So that's why it's not too much woody,
Yeah.
and just to keep this very important balance.
Yeah. Okay.
People from San Francisco to Tokyo, they love this kind of wine. It's not necessary to be a specialist to appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Because you have all the flavor immediately, you have all the structure and so on. So it's
Okay.
it's a new good way for Bordeaux.
Sounds good to me. Great. Okay. Cool. I'm ready for the big one.
So the great wine. So we have Château La Gaffeliere 2015. So as I explained before, the 15 is a great vintage, of course, in Bordeaux, but a bit specific due to the hot summer we had, and so it was a bit complicated to keep the good acidity and the good freshness, in fact, in the wine. So it was very important to do the harvest at a really good time and not too late, because if you did it too late, you will arrive easily at a kind of marmalade,
Yeah.
So it was difficult. So it was successful for us, and we pick up the grape. I think at a good moment, but the specification of the 15 is a hot wine, wine. So we have. It was difficult also to find a good balance with the alcohol also, so it was important. And in fact, we have a wine which is quite very fantastic to drink in the coming 10 years. I think, because a little bit more opulent, but still very round with a good acidity also. Not as much as in the 16, but in the 15 you can find all the aroma, which is very interesting. So we have 30% of Cab Franc, of Cabernet Franc, 30%, and 70% Merlot.
Okay.
And in La Gaffeliere we have replanted Cabernet Franc since more than 20 years, as it was in the 40s and the 50s in the estate. It changed in the 60s and the 70s, and now we come back to the future. Come back to the history of La Gaffeliere, and in the 15 it's 30% of Cab Franc, and since 2017 we have more than 40% now of Cabernet Franc in the great wine.
Okay, cool.
And it's give to the wine tension, and elegance, which is incredible.
Sure.
Incredible.
Because of the lovely slopes you have here, and we're sort of right on the slope of the famous limestone plateau here, and that's ideal with it corresponds well with the Cabernet Franc, I imagine.
Yes,
All the limestone.
we have replanted essentially Cabernet Franc on the main two hills.
Yeah.
And so it will be finished maybe in 3 years, and we started in 2001.
Yeah.
So it's we have time. We have it's not immediate for an estate like us, but we have time. But in more than 20 years, we have replanted more or less more than 70% of the estate. And now we have Cabernet Franc, which are fantastic on the side of ozone, We share the hill of Ozone is the same. Ozone have more than 50% of Cabernet Franc also.
Well, yeah, well, they are
now, and so it's fantastic, and we have the quality of the grapes are incredible.
Yeah, cool. And also it keeps the alcohol a little lower because the Merlots bring in a lot of alcohol to the wine.
Exactly. Due to the climate, we have more frost, we have more hot summer, we have more rain, we have more everything since 10 years, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not just a changing; it's very excessive, you know. So it's difficult.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of good wines are coming year after year now.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. And the Cabernet Franc, yes, as you said, is a good way to keep the balance on the alcohol with the Merlot, which the alcohol is higher and higher due to the maturity, and the Cabernet Franc give a good balance. So the Cabernet Franc have less alcohol, so it's a good way to have the wine in a good balance, acidity, alcohol. So 15 is very young for Château La Gaffeliere, you know, but when you taste it, it's not aggressive, you know.
No, silky,
not at all.
silky tannins.
Exactly.
Already quite smooth.
Yeah. So it's that's why I often say that if you enjoy Château La Gaffeliere, you can keep it for 20, 30, 40 years if you want. It's not a problem. But you can drink it also young. So it's important. It's important because if you have the good balance at the beginning, you will keep this balance.
I've had 2010 and 9 Gaffeliere, and I actually had them with cheese, and I loved it. It was Auvergne cheese.
Yeah.
It was Comtel, and
yeah,
it was amazing. I don't know if it's often done, but I done it and I loved it. But I don't. Can you recommend anything else you can have with either of the wines?
This kind of wine. So for me, it's the simple beef, you know.
Yeah.
Barbecue, you know.
Yeah.
With a good piece of beef, that's enough.
Yeah.
I think. Or you can taste it with many kind of food, but with friends, you know.
Yeah.
With good friends. Much of rugby, you know, with beef like that, you know, on the barbecue.
Creates a good ambience.
Exactly. Fantastic.
Well, that was superb. Thank you very much for that.
It's
very well explained. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. So cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.